Good day, YouTube. Today's topic, I am in Texas for training, and I just found out about this training 2 weeks ago. Somebody said, my leaders said, you've been identified. Then they came back and said, you're going to this training on diversity and inclusion, which I think it's great because it's something that I really like. My background, as you may know already, my job is personnel, and this training here doesn't really fall under personnel, but it's human resources, which is what all of my training has been. I've done equal opportunity, mediation, I've done bystander intervention training, and recently resiliency training. So for me, this topic of diversity and inclusion falls right under my HR, human resources background, and it's something that I really love to do. I have 2 full pages of notes. I'm just going to talk about some of the things. When the Air Force talks about diversity, I'm going to bring up 2 topics, and we're going to put those aside for just one moment. And those 2 topics are race, color, and the second one is gender. So let's go ahead and put those aside for a while, because that's what a lot of people think about when they think about diversity. Look also at your background, whatever that may be. Maybe you're born in a big city or a real small town. Your family background, again, that makes us diverse. Education. It could be high school, it could be some college, it could be college, it could be advanced degrees. So education as well. The other things that I have here are your talents. What talents do you have that the Air Force is using right now, or the Air Force may want to use in the future if you're a possible recruit? There are so many talented people out there as well, and I get to observe all these great people and learn every week from people, regardless of rank, regardless if they're civilians or military. I get to learn a lot from people. Another thing is age. Are you a young individual, a little bit older, somewhere in between? So all of these are diverse factors that we all bring to the team. Another thing that we have on here are status. Are you married? Are you single? Your sexual orientation, that was on there as well. So that list goes on and on. Think of it like there's a lot of layers. Now, what I talk about in this video is my opinion, based on some of the training that I observed today. But it's, again, my opinion. I don't speak for the Air Force, so that's just something that I want to do. When we look at diversity, the second part of that is inclusion, and that's what I learned today. So we're a very diverse force right now, but we also have to include others as well. And somebody was talking to me just last week about affirmative action and how this comes across as the same old thing as affirmative action, and there's some differences, and that's what I'm going to learn about tomorrow. But the best thing that I learned today is we as individuals, when we do our job, if we provide a quality product, whatever our job is, that is the first step out of many steps as well. Second step, third step, and fourth steps would come to those individuals that are doing a good job, because that's the first thing and that's the key. If they're doing a good job, or they bring in a lot of experience or talents or that diverse background that the Air Force is looking for, that is a good thing as well. Now, once you're already in the Air Force, is regardless of your rank, is you have to know the people that you work with, and they have to know you as well. That's important. That doesn't always happen. If you're a leader and you know the team that works for you, you're going to know who to use appropriately and when and how, because everybody has strengths and weaknesses, and everybody brings good things to the team. Unfortunately, some people may bring some negative habits as well, but those are the things that we have to address when needed and focus a lot more on those positive things and how I can be used. The reason I think I was asked to attend this training is because of my background as an HR individual. So I'm learning here for 2 days in San Antonio, and I'm going to have to go back to my unit. I'm going to have to go back and train them, but I'm also going to have to provide demographics, information, statistics every quarter when asked upon to provide that information. Now, here in America, or when you work for the Air Force, like I said, there are a lot of individuals that bring a lot to the plate, and a lot of us, the majority of us, are going to be different people. So I'll ask you, what is it that you bring to a team, whether it's the Air Force or a civilian company or as a civilian for the military? What do you bring to the team? And ask as well, what do others bring to your team? That way, we start to use all of this in ways that we can actually improve the team and the performance of the team. Let me share with you some personal history of myself. I grew up in Los Angeles, born and raised, very diverse. So I got to see a lot of different cultures. That was my initial informal training to diversity. The second one was when I joined the Air Force and I went to my first base, Montgomery, Alabama in 1996, 20 years ago. That was my second part of informal diversity training, in the sense that for the first time ever I experienced, I went blank on the word, but what's that word? Give me a second, it'll come to me. Discrimination. Sorry about that. The first time ever was when I arrived to Montgomery, Alabama, and that was the first time that I ever personally experienced discrimination. Whereas you would think in a big city it happens, and I'm sure it does, but it was something that I'd never even noticed before. That was my informal training. The good news is that once I retrained into personnel and got to deal with a lot of people all the time, whether it was a customer or in a class, I eventually got training under equal opportunity. That was a career field that I went into for 3 years and got formal training at Patrick Air Force Base through the Defense Equal Opportunity Management Institute, DOMI. It's a great course, 3 months long. And in between there, when I went through ROTC in Montgomery, Alabama, I went through a university, Alabama State University, which is an HBCU, which stands for Historically Black College or University. And that's another form of informal learning that I did, because I got to experience things again that I'd never experienced before. So I have informal learning and formal learning, training that I've experienced in my life. Now, the thing about me is that I'm an optimistic person. So I always look at things and ask, why do things happen? And then I'll ask as well, how many other people have experienced maybe discrimination in their lives? I'm sure it happens. I'm sure it happened before to me, maybe even in Los Angeles, that I was just never aware of or in tune with. But that's the thing, is we are a diverse country, diverse Air Force, diverse military, that I would say that what works for me is to focus more on the positives. And it goes also along with, to me, the basics are important, is treat people the way you want to be treated. And if somebody is treating you in a way that's discriminatory or not positive, what are you going to do about it? Because that's a simple solution. There are offices out there, for example, like Equal Opportunity, who, if you go to them or the Inspector General, they will listen to you and say, yes, we can help you because this falls under us, or we can't help you because it's actually that office over there. But there are offices out there to ensure that they assist you and never settle at the same time. This is what I'm here for, is 2 days of training, diversity and inclusion. I talked about a little bit about my past as well. And I still have another page, but I'm not going to talk about that because that's notes for me. So when I go back to my base, that I start to work this program according to how they want us to and provide what they need us to. So there's a lot to learn. It's just an example of an opportunity that came my way to learn and gain more experience in areas that I really like. All of the people in this class that I'm here, majority are high-ranking senior non-commissioned officers or officers. So I get to meet new people as well, learn new things, share it with you. It has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with travel, but it deals with what we may encounter in our careers, whether it's the military or outside of the military. Have a great day. Take care. Let me go back to something that I started and I said, let's go ahead and put aside for a moment. That's race and gender. Those are the two things that most people will observe or focus when they start to interact with someone, whether they know them or not. But here's the thing. Always remember that we as individuals are more than race, than gender, that there are many layers. A lot of those examples that I talked about at the beginning of this video, which makes us a very diverse force. Have a great day.